So I'm back again by unpopular demand. And today I want to introduce the third leg of what for me is a musical holy trinity. I've already talked at length about Rush and, of course, Marillion are entirely seminal to me and my musical tastes. The third leg of that tripod is Porcupine Tree and, of course, Stephen Wilson. At the risk of sounding like I'm dropping a name, I was actually lucky enough to be introduced to Porcupine Tree by a man called Ian Bond, who is their front of house engineer for their live tours. He was doing front of house engineering and being the Dark Lord of sub bass for the Marillion Marbles tour, which I documented in a movie that I made. And Ian Bond one day gave me a copy of Stupid Dream, the Porcupine Tree album, because he thought that I'd like it. And that started an incredibly quick but quite passionate love affair with Porcupine Tree. And this particular song was not one of those songs that I immediately connected with, but was one of those that I'd listened to dozens and dozens of times before suddenly it hit that place in my brain that clicks and says, oh, that's something special. And I guess what for me makes this song special is that it's musically relatively simple, but as a piece of narrative storytelling, as an emotive piece of fiction, it is quite powerful. So let's take a look at Heart Attack in a Laybye, he said, dramatically starting the music. So I am going to stop and start during the course of this because that's the technique I've chosen to adopt so that I can dive into these lyrics in some detail. I hope that doesn't upset you. If it does, other reaction channels are available. John Wesley, amazing.
I've got this feeling inside me, don't feel too well.
So, quite often as a writer, you have this instinct to write big, dramatic narratives. Avengers Endgame. World-changing events, changing people in world-changing ways. One of the incredible pieces about this lyric is its minutiae, the smallness of it as a story, the specificity of it as a story. A man driving in traffic on a wet night, not feeling so well, pulling up to the side of the road. I mean, that line, the smell of rain in the aircon, it's such an evocative line because we all know that smell. We're all familiar with that smell. That sense that this tells of just such a beautifully studied moment and a small story, but buried beneath it in the subtext is a whole world of heartbreak. A whole what we're going to come to understand, a whole world of tragedy, from a man who celebrates his willingness to write increasingly sad songs. And this is far and away not the saddest, but it's a hell of a lot sadder perhaps than the gentle pads and the gentle flow of the music suggests. Great filmmaking too. We shot brilliant in this venue, but I think this is stunningly made.
Close my eyes and fell asleep in this lay-by. Would it all subside? The fever pushing the day by. Motor window wind. I could do with some fresh air. Can't breathe too well.
So we come to know or to understand or to realize this is a man dying. It's called Heart Attack in a Laybye. The clue's in the name. This is a man busy dying and not knowing it. And he's a man busy dying in that uncomfortable moment, as they always are, when his life is ongoing, when everybody around him has ongoing and unfinished business with him, when his wife has unfinished business with him. At the best of times, we don't get to finish our own stories. But this character that Steve is writing about is literally going out in the middle of an unfinished story that will completely change his wife's unfinished story and change it forever. She waits for me. Home waits for me. So, musically, he's into cutting. He's in my mind. He's into cutting between this man who does not yet know he's dying, and this woman who does not yet know he's not coming home. And now he's giving us the backstory. He's not just going home at the end of a day. He's going home at the end of a day where they recently fought. You can almost imagine the silence of the previous night when they went to bed, or the morning when he left for work, or she left for work, or possibly even worse, the leaving for work while she was still in bed. And both of them have the expectation that that argument will be resolved, that they'll get to make up. And she waits at home in counterpoint to us seeing the clock on his life winding down. And as I say, I wrote a short play, a one-act play, based entirely off this simple song, tracking a romantic relationship, tracking a love affair, as is inspired by and inferred in this simple song and this simple lyric, because this is tragedy. This is great epic tragedy told from the perspective of a man in a lay-by in a car with a cassette player. A car with a cassette player, with the absolute belief that we'll grow old together. We'll grow old together, says the lyric, but they won't. They won't get to finish this business. They won't get to resolve this fight. She'll get a phone call. I think this is an incredible piece of music. If you've never heard it, I hope you click on the link below and listen to it without my starting and my babble. If you loved the song and you came here because you loved the song, maybe we share some reasons for loving it. That's really what this channel is about. It's about a conversation. It's about appreciation. And for me, right now, this is an incredible piece of writing, of narrative fiction. A short, sad film told within the bars of a very beautiful, simple song. And given how complicated Porcupine Tree is to parse lyrically, from the perspective of Steve Wilson's writing with Porcupine Tree, a very powerful first taste if you haven't experienced them before. And hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll click on the link below and listen again and imagine a man having a heart attack in a lay-by on the way home to a wife who waits for him. Thanks for watching. Keep the faith.